Hello, and welcome to Cultivate to Thrive podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Gunn. My mission is to help women find and live their purpose, resulting in discovering who they innately are. Throughout this podcast journey, I will help you to uncover your talents and your strengths to lead you on the path of realizing value in self, to grow in love of self, to lead to a fulfilling purpose, and to build stronger relationships. In this episode 10, I want to talk about goals. There are many theories about goal setting and the best methods to follow. Most people have heard about SMART goals. Brendon Burchard made a video about dumb goals. This was my introduction to this new idea, and this had me intrigued. SMART goals are universally known as goals to help you achieve timely and measurable results for the goal you have chosen. So the goals must consist of these elements: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. SMART. These are great guidelines, especially if you need to report to a board member, a supervisor, investor, or just having difficulties meeting your goals. Now let's take a look at each part of a SMART goal. Specific. Your goal should be clearly stated. Think about, what do you want to accomplish? Why is this goal important? Who is involved? Where is it located? What resources or limits are involved? SMART goals must be measurable. You must be able to track progress. You need to mark accomplishments. Think about things like how much, how many, what length of time it will take. How will you know it's accomplished? SMART goals must be achievable. So it must be realistic. Can you accomplish this goal? And how can you accomplish this goal? Is it financially feasible? Do you have access to all of the necessary resources? If not, are you able to get access? SMART goals must be relevant. Does it seem worthwhile? Is this the right time for this goal? Does this match your other efforts or needs? Do you have the talents and skills to reach this goal? Is it applicable in the current socioeconomic environment? And SMART goals must be timely. So when? You need to have a target date for completion. What can you do 6 months from now? What can you do 6 weeks from now? What can you do today? Now, this method may work well for you or your team. Do note that there is not much flexibility. Depending on talents and resources, you may need to make adjustments. Always remember to remain flexible, but for SMART goals to work, you cannot be too flexible. So when I was researching goals, I came across Brendon Burchard, as I stated earlier, and in his video, I'll put the link in the show notes, he talks about how the concept does not really take us where it is possible to go. In other words, the SMART goals. SMART goals keep us from really dreaming big, right? Even the part where it's talking about it must be realistic, it needs to be something attainable. So sometimes that just hampers creativity. It keeps you from reaching beyond what you think you can do. So he takes a look at dumb goals. This is the concept that takes you where things may be possible, that maybe you haven't really thought about. So at an elementary level, Brendon states dumb goals are dream-driven, uplifting, method-friendly, and behavior-driven. This is something that I haven't been familiar with in my life. So discussing dumb goals, dream-driven, this is a vision for your life. It's not just focused on tasks. Are the goals you're setting aligned with the vision for your life? Does it align with your purpose? So obviously this is something that you're not going to just come up with instantly. This is something you're going to really want to spend some time thinking about or investigating, really pondering and getting to know you. We're talking about purpose here. We don't just always just know our purpose. Sometimes it takes many years to get there. So you'll really want to spend some time thinking about this dream-driven part of dumb goals. The next part of dumb goals is uplifting. Usually when we talk about goals, we're not thinking about them being uplifting. We're focused on getting something done and accomplished, and really not even always what the result will entail, just what it's like to get it accomplished. So uplifting, your goals should inspire something in you, not just encourage you to meet a deadline or check off a task, but really inspire something in you. I think that really ties in well with dream driven. The next part of a dumb goal is method friendly. So it needs to be something that leads to something else or builds upon something. Dumb goals aren't something that just ends, like a SMART goal ends with a program or a task or a certain accomplishment or a target. So dream goals need to be something that leads to something bigger. So in other words, it's not going to necessarily end with that goal. It'll be something you can build upon. The last part of the dumb goals is behavior driven. So when you set a goal, you should create a behavioral trigger that reminds you to chase it. For example, if you want to be a better parent, then you can set a behavior trigger to accomplish it, like a rule, so that when we pull into the driveway at night, our first thought is to take a moment to center ourselves, find a calm and loving space before entering the house. Or if our goal is to become healthy, the trigger can be that every time we drop the kids off, we drive to the health food store. So a trigger means if I'm already doing A, then I'm going to add behavior B right after in order to habitually move forward to my goal. It's a reminder and an activator. So really think about that. Behavior driven. What are some things that you do already that you can add a behavior to? A lot of us have regular routines in the morning. So I think that's a great place where you can add a behavior. And obviously the example of a working parent, that's a huge one because we want to show up and be the best for our kids and our spouses. A lot of times work will bring turmoil, stress, anxiety. We kind of need to leave that at work. So decompressing in the car, I think is a great way to do that. It's a great example because behavior A is you arrive home, right? And your target is you want to be a good parent. So you want to show up as your best self. So think about different things that you do where you can add a behavior to help you reach it. So just because most people aren't familiar with dumb goals, I'm going to do a quick recap. So dumb, dream-driven, uplifting, method-friendly, and behavior-driven. Really, that is something so new to me. And listening to Brendan's talk, these dumb goals really resonated with me. My vision and my mission, my personal mission, the mission for my coaching business. And I thought, gee, can I incorporate the two together? SMART goals and dumb goals? Sure. Working with Clifton Strengths, I can envision how dumb goals can be tailored to fit and work well with a person's unique talents and strengths instead of a cookie cutter method of goal setting. They help you to envision and reach your purpose. And you can really do that much better if you truly know yourself. You'll hear me say that a lot. But I know for me growing up, and a lot of women and men, we're not given the opportunity to get to know ourselves before we decide where our future is headed. This can be done at any point in life. And I encourage you, if you haven't done that, or you're not sure where you are, where you want to be, to really take the time to get to know yourself. And of course, I love Clifton Strengths, and I think it's a great way to not just shed some light on who you innately are, but really confirm and affirm what's right and good about you. SMART goals are more task-driven or project-driven, and I believe that both are needed to be successful, especially depending on how you work and your personality. So if you're someone who is more task-oriented, you'll really thrive off the SMART goals. But sometimes you'll forget about these purpose-driven, these dumb goals, the vision for your life, because you're so busy checking off tasks. And if you're a dreamer and you're always having these grandiose ideas of what life can be like and how you see yourself in the future, sometimes you need a little bit of structure to help you develop the plan to get there. So from my perspective, we need both. And depending on how you are innately made to operate, you'll probably lean on one more heavily than the other. But you may need the other if it's not something you're tended to go towards. Does that make sense to you? So I believe we must have a broad vision of how we want to live and what we want to accomplish to live our purpose. But we need a plan to accomplish tasks or those smaller segments of life to get there, things to build upon. And like Dumb Goal said, the behaviors to build upon, to make it behavior driven. Once you make something a habit, it's so much easier to do it. Sure, in the beginning, it's difficult. But once you start building upon those habits, it becomes second nature. I want to encourage you to not be afraid to dream a little. Really sit down and dream. Journaling is a great way to dream. Think about something. Think about maybe where you want to be 5 to 10 years from now. How do you envision your life? Start writing it down. Build upon what you wrote down. Go back and read it. Put it down a day or two. Go back and build on it again. Get to know the real you so that you can develop your dumb goals. Think about your past, what things have come easy to you, what things have brought you great joy, and how you can develop these into living your purpose. What kind of dumb goals can you create around these to help make your life what you want it to be? And then don't forget to utilize the SMART goal process to help you get there. I would love to hear any feedback you have on dumb goals and SMART goals. So dream a little and keep a little structure. Thank you for joining me for today's episode of Cultivate to Thrive podcast. Please remember to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode, and share with someone who needs to hear today's message. This podcast is brought to you by Cultivate and Thrive, Coaching by Michelle. Have a blessed and purposeful week.